It is definitely getting busier out there. Thank you for being with me and spending some time. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Two areas we're watching. One here, this will become Alvin shortly. I want to show you the computer models on this, how strong it will get and how much of this rain lifts up to Mexico and even potentially Texas. And then this area here, there's nothing brewing right now, but down the road in just about a week from now, we're going to see a lot of rain build up, and there is the potential of some development near the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, swinging back toward Belize. It does not mean we're going to have anything big. It just means it's an area we are watching together, and I want to show you that out in time. And let's begin with that. So here we are in the Caribbean. About a week from now, there is the possibility of some development. Now, we're going to see the rain building near Jamaica eventually. And with that, the American model has this area becoming a tropical storm and then kind of swinging a little bit more toward the north and west. The European model as of now doesn't have this area becoming a tropical storm, but it does have this area showing a circulation and kind of working its way over toward the Gulf. So the European model is kind of picking up on something. Canadian and the German models, the Icon model right now, not a whole lot, but the models are hinting at some development. But what I do is I look at the models, yes, but then I keep an eye on those environmental conditions. And over the next few days, I'll be able to have a good feel on if something will develop and where it will go for you. So I'll give you that heads up. Again, nothing now, nothing imminent or anything crazy like that. I keep things in perspective on this channel. So thank you for taking the time to subscribe. Again, we do this time of year. We start to track some areas of interest. Watching this area out here, again, that's what will become Alvin. And we've been seeing a few of those scattered areas of rain through parts of the Eastern Caribbean, but a lot of us on the flip side have had some of the dust. Now, here's what's happening. Here's one tropical wave. You see it right here. No organization out of this. And in the short term, this tropical wave is not going to develop. A tropical wave is a cluster of rain and storms. This is, though, going to move into the Caribbean over the next few days. And as it does, it'll increase the moisture, and then I'll see if anything tries to develop. Once that moisture gets into the Caribbean, you see here's the European model early to mid-June. It is hinting at some development, especially back toward the Bay of Campeche, you get into the southern Gulf, saying about a 40 to 50% chance of some development in here, and some brighter colors showing up in the Western Caribbean, 30 to 40% chance of development. So the European model is latching out of something, and the American model. Let me show you the American model, which sometimes shows things spinning up a little bit too aggressively, while the European model on the flip side, sometimes it doesn't latch on to development early enough. The models are just computers. They have errors, and that's why I watch all of that for you. But here's what will become Alvin as we work our way over the next couple of days. Scattered storms, Cuba, Haiti, the DR, Costa Rica, Panama, Guyana, and Suriname. Still additional flooding around. Now, as we go over the next couple of days, this is by tomorrow, there's some of the rain. Watching this, getting closer to the Caribbean, still the rain in Guyana and Suriname, and I'll zoom into this in a second, plus some of the severe weather up to the U.S. in just a moment. This here is by Thursday. Then we start to get some spotty showers. Not a lot, but St. Lucia, St. Vincent the Grenadines, we could get a few. There are the scattered storms. May catch a couple around Jamaica and Cuba. Now, let's go out in time here further and show you the buildup of rain. Now, I do believe we're going to see the higher chance of rain building in the Caribbean. I've been talking about this for about a week or so. Everything right on track, right on time. You can see by Saturday, we'll start to get some more areas of rain. So we'll start to see that as we get into the weekend. So this is by Saturday, this is by Sunday, going out in time here further and stopping it here by Monday. So almost a week from now, there's some of the extra rain, Cuba, near the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. This could, though, be near Haiti and the DR. Still kind of a wait and see where this blob of rain will start to flare up. No development yet, but as we get deeper into next week, this would be by Wednesday. This is the American model. And again, keep in mind, a lot of the models don't have development, but the American model does. It does slowly show this area spinning up near Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Mexico, Belize, and then for the most part kind of shifting its way either a little bit more to the north or a little bit more off toward the west, and that's what we'll be watching. Now, the European model, as this brings this area into the Gulf, does try to spin it up a little bit more. So there is a slight chance in the Western Caribbean or the Gulf of a tropical storm developing as we work our way into about the first week of June. We're going to wait and see on that, just kind of giving a heads up. But what I do believe will happen at the least will be a buildup of rain. Some of us need the rain. Sometimes the tropical weather could be a good thing this time of year. We'll watch it together. Now, over the next couple of days, I'll be able to tell you exactly what's going to happen, but I do watch the environmental conditions. Water temperatures have really warmed. About a week or two ago, we had that heat dome in place over Florida and the Bahamas that did, of course, the water temperatures warm this time of year. We know that. We're headed towards summer, but that heat dome was extra hot, and that did allow those temperatures to really warm up. You see these pink shadings in here. We're looking at 30, 31 degrees Celsius, 86 to about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. So right where we're going to see this area of rain, it's going to pass over some very warm water that could kind of fuel this. But it's not just what's happening at the surface. I look at what's above, and as we go over the next few days, I'll be able to see what's kind of going on above our heads, if there's a lot of wind shear, which would be a good thing or not. And then out in the eastern Pacific, of course, very warm water temperatures. That's where Alvin's going to develop. I want to show you the computer models in that in just a moment, but I do want to touch on the dust. Here's what's going on. That dust starting to feed a little bit closer to Jamaica. Now, as this works in, as the dust works in, most of it just south of Antigua and Barbuda. Puerto Rico will get a little bit, the DR, ABC Island, some of that dust. As it continues to work across, it does lessen. It loses some of its density, but some of that dust eventually by Friday will be swinging its way up to the Gulf and may hit some of the states, kind of swinging back eventually over toward the Bahamas. How far north it gets depends on a front up to the north, and then more areas of dust. It is that time of year, June into July, where we get those tropical waves and some of the dust coming off the coast of Africa. Now here is Alvin, what will become Alvin, most likely by Thursday, and then it will start to lift to the north. This is very much on track from what we've been talking about for days and days. Now, as it lifts to the north, there will be weakening. This will eventually bring some rain into parts of Mexico, and then lifting to the north even more so by Friday. As it does, it'll fall apart, but some of that moisture starts to lift in, and it may eventually bring some rain to parts of Mexico, Texas, and New Mexico, where we desperately need some rain. Now, a lot of it's going to fizzle out before it gets to Texas, but some of it may try to squeak in. So I mentioned, of course, tropical weather could be bad, but on the flip side, it could be good. These areas have been so dry, but of course, as Alvin, what should become Alvin, lifts in, I do need to watch out for that mudslide potential and just how strong it gets. But the water temperatures are cooler as it lifts to the north, so eventually it will weaken. And you can see almost all of the computer models. Here's the Baja, shifting this back toward Mexico, but as it does, there should be that weakening trend on this, and you can see this over time. These are the same computer models going about 2 days out in time, either a pretty decent tropical storm. Some of the modeling has this becoming a hurricane, but after 2 days out in time. So once we get past Thursday, the weakening because of the cooler water temperatures, you see the trend in the models, that would be that weakening trend as it lifts to the north, but it may bring in some of that rain, heavy rain, of course, to parts of Mexico, coastal Mexico, which I'll highlight further in upcoming videos, and then we'll see how much of that tries to swing back toward parts of Texas. Today, some severe weather. I mentioned that yesterday. Louisiana overnight, there's been some tornado warnings. Bermuda getting clipped by a front, but there's one batch of rain here kind of pivoting back toward the northeast by the time we get into Wednesday, tomorrow, and another system in parts of the U.S. This one will once again clip by Bermuda, and then just watching out for some rounds of some heavier rain and storms here. This is by late on Thursday. There's that front just clipping by parts of Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island may catch a few showers, and then you see here, that's what will become Alvin, and then we'll be watching out for the buildup of rain back toward the Caribbean as we go out in time. Now, the seas are going to build. Obviously, the seas are really going to build here near Mexico with that tropical development, but a couple more spots we're going to see things building. A little bit choppier as we work our way back through the Caribbean, but with these systems moving off toward the east, off the coast of the U.S. and near Bermuda, by the time we get into the weekend, those seas are really going to build. Here's Bermuda, Bermuda to the north, up toward the Atlantic region of Canada, and then we'll start to see the seas building in the central and western Caribbean with that extra rain. Not necessarily development, but at least extra rain, and I will watch it for signs of development. So as far as the rain goes, you see parts of Texas, Louisiana, swinging back toward the southeast U.S. This is where we'll get some thunderstorms. If we get some thunderstorms, about 4 inches of rain possible. Once again, the Bahamas, we're in between everything. You get the afternoon storms in Florida, not as much in the Bahamas. Cuba, though, we're starting to see more of the afternoon storms around. That could give us a quick 75 millimeters of rain or more. And then we'll get some of those spotty showers and storms. We've had that in Jamaica. Some of us had a couple downpours yesterday, not as much yet in the Cayman Islands. Scattered storms, Haiti and the DR, that could give us 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches of rain. Still that dust around. So Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla. Yes, we can get a few showers around, but the rain chance just not high because of that dust and dry air. But eventually, I showed you some of that moisture feeding closer to Grenada, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago. So as the week goes on, the rain chance will be going up, and still watching out for some of the heavier rain, especially today in parts of Guyana, even Suriname, where we could get some spots for a 3-day total, upwards of 100 to about 125 millimeters of additional rain. That's why I mentioned that earlier in this video. Watching the flooding again, Guyana and Suriname, still keeping an eye on that active weather, Costa Rica and Panama. Some of that squeaks up toward Nicaragua. Here's what will become Alvin, that rain really building offshore. Belize, not a lot. Same thing over toward most of Honduras. And then you can see eventually, here's that rain. This will move in from what will become Alvin into Mexico, and we'll see how much of that kind of lasts over the higher terrain and tries to drift its way up toward parts of Texas, maybe even potentially parts of New Mexico. So as we get a look in Jamaica for us, an isolated shower or storm, about a 30% chance as of now. We're mainly dry in the Cayman Islands. Rain chance stays low as of now, but by Thursday, rain chance up to about 40%, maybe 50%. Trinidad and Tobago, we're going to see more of that moisture moving in. So we've got kind of a busy week ahead of changes. In the meantime, Barbados, we have some of the dust around. Same thing in St. Lucia, spotty shower possible. And then you see here again, by Thursday in Grenada, the rain chance will bump up. Same thing, St. Vincent the Grenadines. By the end of the week, the higher chance of rain with that next tropical wave that will be moving in. Martinique, Dominica, rain chance 10, maybe 20%. Over the next couple of days, 20 to 30% chance as we get back through Guadeloupe. We swing back toward Antigua, Barbuda. Mainly dry, a lot of sunshine around. Same thing, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat. Rain chance next to nothing today, Anguilla and St. Bart's. Generally dry, St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. 20 to 30% chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm. In Puerto Rico, mainly dry, the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. We're generally dry and hot, the Bahamas. Back through the Turks and Caicos as we head over the next 3 days. Rain chance will build a little bit, getting some storms around parts of the Dominican Republic. About a 30% chance by Thursday in Haiti. Rain chance stays on the low side, not out of the question, but on the low side in Belize. 20% chance in Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire. There is some of that dust around, some of that haze around, which would be some of that dust. Keep me posted in the comments. But there's that rain chance again. Guyana and Suriname staying elevated. And we have that next tropical wave that will be moving in. Additional flooding is likely. Watching out for the afternoon storms popping up with the daytime heating in parts of Cuba. 60 to 70% chance Costa Rica and Panama. Isolated shower, mainly southern end of Nicaragua. That's where we have a better chance of rain. 20 to 30% chance in Honduras. 40% chance today, Guatemala and El Salvador. It does go up to about a 60% chance by tomorrow. Scattered areas of rain and storms across Mexico City. Yucatan Peninsula, we're still mainly dry and very hot. 30 to 40% chance of rain in northern Colombia. Building by the end of the week in northern Venezuela with that next tropical wave that will be moving in. In Bermuda, just keeping an eye on these fronts coming off the coast of the U.S. that will at times swing some rain in our direction. Not widespread though, or not long lasting, I should say. So thick dust surging across, Alvin forming in the eastern Pacific, but I'm drawing my attention to the Caribbean, in particular western and central Caribbean, as this area may try to develop a little bit and then lift its way toward the Gulf. Hurricane season officially starts Sunday. Thank you for spending some time with me. Have a really good day ahead.